So Sanjay, you've been hearing this case play out, and obviously lay people are going to form their own opinions, but as physicians, we're all a little astounded that propofol was being given in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, Travis, like you, probably like everybody, back in 2009 when I first heard about this, I didn't believe it. I remember I got a call from our news gathering desk saying this is what they think happened, and I said, this just sounds so bizarre. The idea of giving propofol outside a hospital or outside a clinic of some sort just seemed really just something I'd never heard of. I mean, you have to have monitoring equipment. You have to have also resuscitation equipment. And most times, for example, when it's used in an operating room, it's because a patient already has a breathing tube in. You assume that the patient is not going to be able to breathe on their own with enough of this medication, so you have to breathe for them. And as you said, Travis, it's like just a little bit more, and the patient goes over that cliff. And it works so quickly. It's frightening in a way to see it. Within a few seconds, someone goes from being awake to asleep.
And we have an animation here I want everyone to look at, because when propofol is given either in the operating room, in the ICU, or in the emergency department, in my case, we're all in the room. As a physician, I'm in the room. Someone is going to have oxygen placed on them. I don't know in this case if there was oxygen in the room or not, but you're giving propofol through a vein. It goes very quickly to the brain, and its effects can literally take hold within 30 seconds to a minute. Now, if the perfect amount is given, then you'll go to sleep. But if too much is given, the breathing rate, as you see there, will slow down, because simple reflexes like breathing dissipate. They'll stop breathing, then their heart will stop beating, and they will die. And of course, this is all what we suspect. We suspect this is what happened to Michael.
Now, what about the amount of propofol that has been talked about? That I think it was, what, 4 gallons over a 9-month period that was purchased by the doctor?
Actually, it's crazier than that. Sanjay, we read that 4 gallons of propofol over a 9-week period.
9-week period, right.
Is that correct?
Yeah. That's what I heard as well, and you know, it's in the thousands of milligrams of propofol that was purchased. It was sent to a private residence. I should point out something that you guys may know, but I think is surprising still, is that propofol is not a controlled substance. Point is that a lot of, like, narcotics, for example, are behind lock and key. You have to sign it out. It's a formal process. Propofol, as deadly as it is, all the things that we've been talking about, you can just pick up. So this doctor was able to order literally gallons of this stuff, have it delivered to a private residence, wow. and that was in Nevada, and then he had it shipped to Los Angeles as well. So it was really easy to get. And on top of all that, he said he was trying to wean Michael Jackson off of propofol. If you're trying to wean somebody off propofol and buying thousands of milligrams of it at the same time, that doesn't quite jive, and that's something else that's coming up in this case.
You know, this is a 50 ml bottle. You would take about 300 bottles, 300 of these bottles to make 4 gallons. That's a lot.
But this bottle here,
he was using
alone.
Yeah.
So there are 10 milligrams.
Wean somebody off of propofol. I mean, he shouldn't have been on it. I mean, how to get on it in the first place that he would have needed to be weaned off. Do you know what I'm saying? He already got some addiction in a strange way, right?
I can tell you, at least, it's really interesting because you're absolutely right. And one thing that's coming up is that Dr. Murray is a relatively new doctor to Michael Jackson. But I've been looking into this for a couple of years now since this all happened, and we found doctors, including anesthesiologists, by the way, that would tour with Michael Jackson when he was on tour. Literally, and as it was described to me, they would have mini clinics with them, and they would, quote, put him down at night and bring him back up in the morning.
Wow.
It was stunning to hear that, but that's how they described it.
And the reason people need to put into perspective, when we're talking about 4 gallons, ordering 4 gallons, in this bottle is enough propofol for me, if I gave it to Dr. Lisa, she would stop breathing, and if someone weren't there, if I weren't there to give you artificial respiration, you would die. In this little bottle. And a gallon times 4, we're talking about an absurdly large amount of propofol. Propofol is very different than the other narcotics we talk about on our show. Propofol isn't really a drug that you're going to, quote unquote, get addicted to and need to be weaned from. This is where I think things get interesting, because propofol doesn't give you a high, but some of the other medicines that have been reportedly found in Michael's system, they do things called benzodiazepines.